Hello, friends. Welcome back to the GRE Verbal Ability session. I hope every one of you have learned about the noun and the pronoun, their definition, and their functions so far. So, in connection with the pronoun, we will continue the session today, that is with persons, right? Great. So, the persons. So, in English language, each noun is used in three different concepts, right? They are known as persons. So, what are these three persons? These are the first person, second person, and the third person, right? So, the nouns which are used in first person means ki when a person is telling about himself or herself or talking about himself or herself, that we call it as first person, right? So the pronouns that are used in first person are I in singular form and we in plural form. Then the second person. The second person means when a person addressing the another person, one who is directly in conversation with him or her, right? When a person is talking about another person, one who is directly in conversation with him or her. So that is known as second person. In English, it is called as you. You is a plural pronoun. Hence, for both singular and plural, they are used only as you. There is no second plural form for the word you. That is the reason whenever we start a sentence with you, we always refer it in plural, whether the person is singular or the person is in plural. In present tense, we use it as you are. In past tense, we use it as you were. This is where most of the people I have come across, they make error while speaking when it comes to past tense and addressing the second person. In present tense, fine. They will use it as you are. But when it comes to past tense, they do error here saying you was. I saw that you was going on the bike. Wrong, my dear friends. It is you were. So keep it in mind, the second person, you, is always addressed in plural. Then comes the third person. Third person is that one when a person is addressing to someone else who is not in direct conversation between the two people. Someone else who is not there in the scene. When the person is talking about the another person who is not there in the conversation. For them to address those people, third person is used. So here again, in third person, we have to keep in mind that there is one more thing added to this. Here in third person, we come across gender. We come across gender. In grammar, if you find it, there are only three genders. That is masculine gender, feminine gender, and neutral gender. But now, on the latest developments, and the corrections that have been made, there are 4 genders. The 4th gender is the transgender, right? So, in third person, in singular, genders are used, not in plural. Another point that you have to remember is that when we are framing a sentence with a third person, genders are used only for singulars but not for plurals, right? So the singular forms in third person are he is the masculine gender, she feminine gender, and it is the neuter gender, right? It means masculine means male, feminine means female, and neuter means it is not that it doesn't have gender. It might have gender, but we doesn't refer to genders. We doesn't particularly refer to genders. That is the thing, right? Say, for example, a dog, a cow, a lion, a tiger, an elephant. When we address them, we will not say he or she. We directly say it, though they are gender based. There are genders for these animals also. A male lion is called as a tusker. A female tiger is called as the tigress. A female lion is known as the lioness. Right? In this way, the male gender for cow is ox or bull. So this is the way but we never address them as he or she based on their genders, but we directly address them as it. Even when it comes to human also, sometimes, hello, can you see the person with the blue suit over there? It's my close friend. So that way we address, but we never give preference to the gender there. That's why those words are called as neuter genders. The same thing in plural, they are known as they. He, she, it are the singulars in third person, and in plural, they is the word that is used for plural in third person. They means it can be both the males, both the females, a male and a female, or both neutral genders, or a neutral gender and a male, or a neutral gender and a female. It can be the combination of anything. So this is what you have to understand about persons. So understanding the person is very important because most of the time we use third person, right? Any independent noun that we use, any independent noun. Now, say for example, a man, a student, a girl, a boy, my father, my mother. This becomes the independent noun. So when we use them in singular, we have to look for the subject-verb agreement when we frame the sentences. That we will understand when we go to framing of sentences. I'll let you know. But you have to remember these points in mind to be able to form the right form of sentences. Hope this is quite easy to understand and all of you would have understood this, right? Then, next, we will go to the third part of speech, which is another important one, that is the adjective. An adjective is a word that tells or describes about a noun. Just keep it in mind, an adjective is always used with a noun and with no other parts of speeches. An adjective tells or describes about the character, quality, size, color, or shape, character, quality, size, color, or shape. These 5 things an adjective describes about a noun, right? Or pronoun for that matter. I told you when I was telling you a pronoun is the replacement of a noun. So, noun and pronoun are twins. An adjective is used to refer or describe these 5 characteristics of a noun or a pronoun. So here I have given you few adjectives which you can visualize and see: key, fantastic, red, young, big, wonderful, single, modern, etc., etc., etc. All these things are few adjectives that you can come across in the day-to-day talk that we make with each other. At the same time, I have given you a few examples here. Raju is a good cricketer. Here, the word good is an adjective. It is telling about the quality of the cricketer. It is telling about the quality of the cricketer. Who is the cricketer? Raju. How he plays? He plays a good cricket. He is eager to play cricket all the time. In this part, eager is an adjective which shows his intention, is what you call as total inclination towards playing the game. Which is that game? Cricket. In another sentence, when you come across, you see Radha is brilliant in mathematics and physics. In this sentence, brilliant is an adjective which tells about Radha that she is brilliant in mathematics and physics. So, this is how we frame a sentence to make it more effective or to give more beautification to the sentences. Then further talking about the adjectives. Adjectives can be used, or we can say adjectives are used in 3 different degrees. Those degrees are positive degree, comparative degree, and superlative degree. So the positive degree is the first form of the adjective, that is the original word of an adjective. Comparative degree is always used to compare between two individuals or to compare between two nouns or pronouns. It just compares one with another. And the superlative degree means the topmost, right? It compares with rest all in the group. It compares with rest all as a whole. So that is the superlative, which is the topmost one. So few examples that you can come across here are what are the different degrees that are used for different adjectives. For the adjective good, it is better, best. Even this word, I have come across many people say, he is more better than. No, it is wrong. It is not more better. It is best. In a colloquial language, we use it's more better, it's more good. But it is not more good. The more good means better. More better means best. So we have to understand the degrees when we frame the sentences, especially in the English competitive exams. If we forget these things and if we start writing English in the colloquial language, then we miss the flight. There we have to be very careful and we have to wake up ourselves. Bad, worse, worst. Even most people use is worser than him. No, it is not worser. Worse itself is a comparative degree. Again, you cannot compare a comparative degree with another thing. Worse is worst. He is more worst. It is not more worst, he is the worst. If you want to give the topmost level to that superlative degree, then it becomes the worst. It is not more worst. Right? Tall, taller, tallest, beautiful, more beautiful, most beautiful. It is not beautiful, beautifuler, beautifulest. It is beautiful, more beautiful, most beautiful. Great, greater, greatest. You see, beautiful, synonym for beautiful is cute. For beautiful, it is beautiful, more beautiful, and most beautiful. But for the word cute, it is cute, cuter, and cutest. The opposite word of beautiful or cute is ugly, uglier, ugliest. Opposite word for tall is short, shorter, shortest. When it comes to colors, it is not black, blacker, or blackest. It is again black, more black, and most black. So this is how the degrees of adjectives are to be used in framing the sentences. If at all, if we are beautifying a sentence or comparing someone with another one, in that case, we have to be very attentive here while using the degrees of adjectives. Then, the most important part in the verbal ability is the part of speech which is very important, that is the verb. That's why I told you in the very beginning when I was addressing you for the 8 parts of speeches, I was giving a brief introduction about 8 parts of speeches. I was telling you that verb is the heart of a sentence. That means if there is no heart in a living being, then it is considered as dead. In the same way, if there is no verb used in a sentence, that sentence is of no use. So, what is that verb all about? What does this word do? A verb is an action word. Action word in the sense it tells the reader or the speaker or the listener about the action that needs to be carried out or that is being carried out or that has been carried out. That has been carried out. A particular action. That's why, in short, we can say that a verb is a word that tells about the action in a sentence and the state of the action in that sentence. I repeat it again. Listen it carefully. A verb is a word that tells about an action in that sentence and the state of the action in that particular sentence. That means, say for example, Ramu has worked hard throughout his life. Ramu has worked hard throughout his life. That means, you see, here worked is the verb. So work means he has worked in a company or in his life. He has worked. Means past tense. Ramu is working hard to get to the better position. Ramu is working hard to get to better position. Again, working, which is a continuous tense. He has not given up working. He is still working. He is not retired. Ramu will work hard to improve his lifestyle. Ramu will work, future tense. Still he is not working. He is about to work. He is about to get into a job. Then he works hard. Then he starts working hard. So when we use these things, the verb tells us the state of that action. State here in the sense the tense. Whether the action is being carried out or already carried out or yet to be carried out. So these three states is being defined by the word verb itself. So whenever we identify a sentence of its tense, whenever we are identifying the tense of a sentence, that means a present tense or a past tense or a future tense, verb is the one which gives us the clue to understand about the tense above of that sentence, right? So, for example, if I say those 2-3 examples, whatever I told you now, you try to understand that and see how a verb is so important, right? So here in the picture, you can see many verbs like lie means lie down, sleep, jump, walk, run, push, pull, fall, all these things, right? So work on these things, try to understand more verbs, their meanings. I will let you know going further what all the other parts that are involved with the verb that one needs to understand to be a better spoken person in English. Right? Okay. Now, let us come to the kinds of verb. Right? So, when we tell about the kinds of verb, there are three kinds of verbs. The first and foremost is called as the auxiliary verb. Right? The first and foremost is the auxiliary verb. The auxiliary verbs are also sometimes called as helping verbs. Sometimes they are called as supporting verbs. Sometimes they are called as agreement verbs. So it depends on which level you are talking to. Right? To a simple person, if you have to say it is an auxiliary verb is a helping verb. To an intermediate level, to a better speaking person, if you have to say an auxiliary verb consists of a supplementary verb or a supporting verb also. To a higher degree, when you get into this level of examinations and all, these auxiliary verbs are termed as agreement verbs. This I will let you know going forward why these are known as agreement verbs. These are the verbs, that means these auxiliary verbs are the ones which bring in the agreement between the subject and the verb. I hope all of you would have heard about subject verb agreement. So, the subject verb agreement, that agreement is made by these auxiliary verbs. So, whenever you are using a verb with a particular subject, you have to see whether is there a relationship between these two and is the verb getting connected properly with the noun or the pronoun or not. Then coming to this auxiliary verbs, is and am. Is and am are the auxiliary verbs for first person in singular. When we are using the subject that is the pronoun, in first person, in singular. Then, if you have to frame the sentence, the auxiliary verbs used to bring in the agreement with the verb and the subject are is, am, plural are. But only am is used with first person, is used with third person singular, and are is used with first person plural, second person, both singular and plural, and third person plural. Then comes to past tense, was and were. Then there's the third category called as be verbs. They are be and been. These two verbs are used as the helping verbs in future tense. Have, has, and had. These verbs are used to frame the perfect tenses. So, has, again, I told you, had is the past tense of both these two, have and has. Whereas the auxiliary verb has can be used only with third person singular. It should be used only with third person singular, that is, he, she, it, or any other independent singular noun, like the boy, the girl, the teacher, the principal, the lion, the dog, singular independent noun. Has is used while framing the sentences in simple present perfect tense. When we frame the sentences in present perfect tense. Okay? Then the second type of verbs, or the second kind of verb, are the action verbs. Action verbs means they are the original verbs which tells us about the action of that word. So, for example, run, eat, walk, sleep, go, play, all these things, right? These are known as action verbs. Then the third one is the modal verb. Sorry. These are the verbs that are used to understand about the ability or the possibility of a person, or to make some requests, or to take some permissions, etc. Right? In other words, these modal verbs are used to understand the one's ability or the capability or the possibility of or making requests or seeking permissions. So the examples for modal verbs are will, shall, can, may, would, could, might, should, and ought to. These are the 9 things. That is, will, shall, can, may, would, should, could, might, and ought to. These 8 are the modal verbs. So, in the next thing, we will just try to understand how these modal verbs do function. And in brief, once you understand that, it would be easy for you to frame the sentences when you are talking about someone, or when you are making request to someone, or when you are seeking permission with someone. So, this is the thing. The word can, it, depending on the circumstances, it tells about the ability of a person. Say, for example, Ramesh can swim in the running river. That means a person can swim in the running river or the flowing river. That is his ability or his capability. Again, the same word can also be used for seeking permission. One thing, my dear friends, I would like to tell you about is the three words can, shall, and may. Can, shall, and may. These three modal verbs are used for the same functionalities, either for making a request or seeking a permission, but one should understand under what circumstance or under what situation these three has to be used. Because the function is same for all these three things, one cannot use as they wish it. That I will let you know once I finish this complete lesson with you, and in the end I will let you know when we can use can or when we can use may or when we can use shall. And also can is used to offer some help, right? Offering help. May I come with, can I come with you? Can I be of some help to you? Can I pay your bill? These sort of things, offering some help. Then next word is could. Could is the one which tells about the possibility. Here the possibility is 50-50. And also it tells about the past ability of an individual, of a person, or of a noun or a pronoun. It tells the past ability, the ability which they had in the past. Say, for example, the possibilities, the story could be true. Who knows? India might win. I can't say. Right? India can win this match. India could win this match. Then the past abilities, like Naushad could swim when he was just 4 years old. Now he is not 4 years old. Now you might be either 40 or whatever it is. But at the age of 4 only, he could swim. That was the past ability. Again, we can use it for making requests or seeking permissions. Like, could you spare your pen? Could you spare your dictionary? Can you please, could you share your notes with me? All these sort of things. Then the word may. May is also used to tell about the possibilities. Just like could, even may tells about the possibilities. But here, the possibility is again 50-50. The possibility is 50-50. For example, the principal may come to office today if the seminar gets over before 5 o'clock. The principal may come to office today if the seminar gets over before 5 p.m. May come. There is a condition. What is the condition? He is attending a seminar, it should get over by 5 p.m. Only then he will come to office. If it goes beyond that, he will not come to office. Possibilities. Then seeking permission. May I borrow your English dictionary, please? May I use your phone, please? These sort of requests. Then the word might. Might can also be used as the past form of may, right? It can be used as the past form of may while making the sentences in the indirect speech or the reported speech. Might is used in the past form while making the sentences in the indirect speech or the reported speech. And it is also used to identify or tell someone about the slight possibilities. Whereas may, the possibilities are more, but there is a conditional possibility. There is a condition. 50-50 chances are there when we are using may or could. But when you use might, the chances are very less. Very slight possibilities, right? India might win the World Cup. Still, I doubt. That means the possibility is less. Principal might come to college, but I doubt. So this way, when you tell about that, the possibilities are less. The person will come to know that waiting here or expecting more would be of a no use at all. Then the thing is the should. Normally, should is used for making advices or sometimes giving soft orders. Soft orders means where you are not giving the orders stringently or by force. There is no compulsion. You are not showing the thing to be done compulsorily or mandatorily. So should can be used for that. And it is also used at times for logical deductions. Right? For advice, you should take an auto to reach the station if you are getting late. It means you don't take a bus. You better take an auto. It would be more helpful. An advice, a piece of advice. You should carry an umbrella. It may rain. Right? So, logical deductions when it comes, logical deductions in the sense, my dear friends, you will not entirely elaborate the whole scenario. Meaning remains the same. But when you see it logically, it gives you the better weightage. Right? Say, for example, I have revised for the exam. I have revised for the exam in the sense what? I have just gone through quickly whatever is important from the point of view of exam. I have just ran through. Here, you are not reading the entire notes of a subject, or you are not reading all the lessons in a subject. You know what are important lessons? In those important lessons, what are the important topics? In those important topics, which are the very important content that are very important to be known or to be understood? What you do, you just revise. You go through that only once. That is the logical deduction. Instead of sitting and wasting the whole time in reading the entire lesson, you will read only the important part of it. Again, ought to is as good as using should. That means to make advise or to make some logical deductions, right? Sometimes advice, we use it. Most of us doesn't use this word ought to, but Americans use it a lot. In American English, ought to is the word which is more used instead of should. So you ought to make a call to your mother at least once a week. See, you are staying away from your home in a hostel or in a PG or somewhere there, or you are abroad staying alone and your parents are here in India. If you have to keep them updated about you, you ought to call them. It's a piece of advice that is being given to you, right? Then shall. Shall is another important modal verb, actually, which is losing its usage in day-to-day English. Still, if you are writing any article in a magazine or any column in the newspaper, or if you are writing a report, or if you are making any statements, or if you are writing any judgmental result, or if you are writing the English examination in any competitive exam, whether it is you are taking UPSC or banking or GRE, IELTS, TOEFL, whatnot, and what all. Shall is the word that need to be used while making the sentences with first person, either singular or plural, in future tense. Now all of us use I will instead of using the word shall. Actually, what happens is when you use I will come to the marriage, means you are confirming that you are coming to the marriage. So it becomes a confirmatory sentence rather than a future tense sentence. So to making the future tense sentence, it is used as the agreement verb or the helping verb or as the auxiliary verb to make sentence in future tense when the subject is first person, whether it is singular or plural. Then it is also used to make some invitations or some offers. Hello, my dear friends. I'm going out for lunch. Shall you join me? And also, it is used for making requests. Shall I come in? Shall I help you? Shall I be of any help to you? Shall I drop you? Shall I pick you up? All these sort of things, offering some help. Then is the word would. Would is normally used for making invitations, like, would you mind coming out with me for dinner today? Would you mind joining me in the party of my friend? These sort of things. Then giving opinions. Means when you want to give your opinion, not suggestion. When you want to give your opinion, say that I would rather stay at home and read instead of coming to the movie. I would go to temple instead of going to a park. So these sort of things, what you opine, you can use it. Because when you get into essay writing and all, when there is an opinion need to be given, There, this modal verbs play a very important role. Then for making request also, for making request. Would you be able to help me with some financial assistance? Would you be able to drop me to airport? Would you be able to pick me from the airport? These sort of requests when we make. So this is the modal verbs when we use it in different circumstances. At the same time, as I told you in the beginning, my dear friends, what are the circumstances when we use to make the request between these three words, that is can, shall, and may? Can, shall, and may. Can be used within an organization where one knows another that they are in the same organization but in the different departments. Say, for example, you are from the mechanical engineering wing, but you know the entire college staff, you know the entire college, few of the students whom you know. From the mechanical engineering wing, you want to get into the civil engineering wing and meet the HOD or any other professor or an assistant professor over there. When you get into their chamber, there you cannot ask, shall I come in or may I come in? So there you have to use it as can I come in? Can I come in? Within the organization. Next is the shall. Shall is used to make the request with the very close persons. Might be your friends and very close friends and relatives. At that time, we use the word shall. Say, for example, you are working in an organization and your close friend and a college mate is also working in the same organization. You want to go and meet your friend in his cabin. Because he is very so close to you, you just cannot barge into his cabin. You knock the door and say, shall I come in? There you will not use the word may I come in or can I come in, because he is very close to you. Say, for example, you are getting into the chamber or the cabin of your dad or mom, one who is working in a prestigious position in an organization. And people also know that you are their child. So when you get into their cabin, you will seek the permission by saying, shall I come in? And very importantly, the third thing is may. May is used to make requests or seek permissions with the unknown people, with the unknown entity. That is why when you go to a bank or a rail station or to an airport or any other bus terminus, you see the board, may I help you? You never come across, shall I help you or can I help you? Right? May is used to make a request or seek permission with the unknown entity or the unknown people. That is the reason, my dear friends, whenever we go to a new college for admission or going to an organization for an interview, when we get into the cabin of the interviewer, we say, may I come in? It is not can I come in or shall I come in? We have to use the word may I come in. Right? So these small tips, if you note down and practice it, you are bound to get a very high band in English verbal test. Then let us come to understand the types of verb. What are the types of verb? There are two types of verbs. The first one is known as the regular verb, and the second one is the irregular verb. What is the regular verb and what is an irregular verb? Regular verbs are those verbs which end with either D or ED in their past tense form. I repeat it again. Regular verbs are those which end with D or ED in their past tense form, or they will not at all change. They will remain the same for both present tense as well as past tense. They remain same for both present tense and past tense. Those are regular verbs. So for example, work, worked, look, looked, bank, banked, change, change, dress, dressed, walk, walk. These sort of things where the word ends with sorry, the past tense form of the verb ends with either D or ED, or it won't change. Like the words cut, shut, put, all these sort of things. Cut is not cutted, put is not putted, shut is not shutted. So, cut is always cut, whether it is present tense or past tense. Shut is always shut, both in present tense and past tense. So, this type, which doesn't have the changed form in the past tense, they remain the same as there it is in the present tense. Those verbs are known as the regular verbs. Then the irregular verbs. Irregular verbs are those which change their form, or where the word itself is changed from present tense to past tense. Either the word will be entirely different or it will be pronounced in a different manner. So when it comes to irregular verbs, one more thing that you can understand is when we get into the next level, that is the forms of verbs, you will understand what are the forms of verb. For regular verbs, V2 and V3 will always be same. V2 and V3 will always be same. Whereas when it comes to irregular verbs, either V1 and V3 will be same, or at times V2 and V3 will be same, but at times all the three will be different. Say for example, go becomes went. The word itself is changed. The word come, pronunciation changes to came. Run becomes ran. Get becomes got. Catch becomes caught, etc. Right? Then, the another important thing about the verb is all about the forms of verb. In English, there are 4 forms of verb, but the fourth form is also known as the common form or the ing form or the ing form. It is also termed as V4. Means why it is called as common form? Because the ing form is used for making all the continuous tenses in any of the sentences in any of the aspects. All in all, there are 12 aspects in English, out of which for 6 aspects, the ing form remains the same. For example, coming, going, talking, eating, sleeping, walking, running, all these things, this ing form will remain same for all the 6 aspects. So let us come to understand one by one each form. The first form is known as simple present or V1. It is known as simple present or V1. This is the original form of the verb. This is the original form of the verb, V1. This V1 form is used to make sentences in simple present tense and simple future tense. I repeat it again. Listen attentively. V1 forms of verb is used to make a sentence in simple present tense and simple future tense. Then comes the simple past or the past tense of the verb. One is the present, then the past tense. Simple past tense, that is also known as V2. V2 form is used only while making the sentences in simple past tense only. Underline this point. V2 form of verb is used to frame a sentence in simple present tense only and nowhere else. Then comes the V3, that is the participle form. It is also known as past participle. Most of us call it as participle only. The participle form of the verb, that is V3, it is used to frame the sentences or to form the sentences in a perfect tense. In a perfect tense, irrespective of whether it is a present perfect, past perfect, or future perfect. The perfect aspect of sentence framed in any of these tenses, present tense, past tense, or future tense, the verb that should be used is always V3. That is the participle form. That is one part. The second part of V3 is that whenever we frame a sentence or we form a sentence in the passive voice, whenever we frame a sentence or form a sentence in passive voice, the V3 form of the verb is used. Right, friends? The last form, that is the V4, which I already explained to you in the beginning itself, that is the continuous form, that is ing form. It is used to make sentences in all the 6 aspects, whether it is present continuous, past continuous, future continuous, present perfect continuous, future perfect continuous, or future perfect continuous. All 6. So it will be ing form, that is the V4 form is used. So the forms of verbs like work, worked, worked, look, looked, looked, walk, walk, walked, these are the words which are regular verbs, right? When it comes to irregular verbs, you see, regular verbs, worked, worked, V2 worked, V3 also worked. Same, no change in that. But when it comes to irregular verbs, it can be go, went, gone. All the 3 are different. Get, got, gotten, or sometimes got. So again, it varies. Run, ran, run. Here, V3 and V1 are the same. These are few verbs which makes a lot of confusion while understanding the perfect tense, whether it is a present perfect tense or a past perfect tense or a future perfect tense. Because whatever the tense is, if it is in the perfect aspect, then the verb that is used is it is always there in the V3 form. So for like the verbs like run, come and all, V3 will be same as V1. Even for come, came, come. And again, coming back to regular verbs like which doesn't change their form in the past tense, like cut, cut, cut. It remains the same in all the three forms. Shut, shut, shut. Put, put, put. Like this. So these are the forms of verbs. If you can understand these few aspects about the verb and frame the sentences accordingly, it will be quite easy for you all to understand. Okay, friends, now I'm going to stop the session now for today here. We will learn about the rest of the important parts of speeches in the next session. That's about the adverbs, the conjunctions, and the prepositions, right? So that you will understand more about the parts of speeches, and then straight away we will be jumping into framing of sentences, finding the errors in the sentences, so on and so forth. Thank you, my dear friends. Thank you. Thank you so much.